You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm recording.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Culture Files. I am Nick, and this is Lisa.
Hello, everybody.
And today we have a very special episode because both of us are. It is 4 a.m. right now where Lisa is, and it's like 9 p.m. where I am. I guess you guys are getting like Lisa and Nick at night. And also, today we are going to be talking about a peculiar topic, and it's going to be about parenting.
Yes, and we're going to dive into our own experiences, maybe just analyze it a little bit, and I think we can even reflect on something and maybe find out something new about ourselves, like because obviously our childhood builds and shapes us as future adults, and it usually affects our choices in life. So yeah, we would like to talk more about this.
And this topic, maybe we should have had like a guest on here because like literally Lisa and I are like both only childs, only children, only childs. Oh wait, shoot. Did I just I speak English and I think I made a grammatical error. Uh Only children. Is that right? Okay, that's an interesting statement there. But yeah, we're both only children, and so it's like, although I will say that I do have one half brother and like two half sisters, but I don't really like live with them. Um so yeah, so pretty much like I was raised as like an only child despite the fact that I have like half siblings. Maybe yeah, like as Lisa said, this is going to have like an effect on like our experience on like the way we go about life. Uh and especially in those very you know influential years of like childhood and stuff where like we're just learning how to walk. We're very impressionistic, and so literally like this is the stage in life where our development is like front and center, and so yeah, it can really shape your entire life.
Yes, it's our fundamental years, and like before recording this episode, Nick and I we wanted to look into this a little bit more and find some scientific information, and we found an article where a professor of psychology from Ohio State University, which is actually very fitting because, of course, cultures and nationalities are important on this podcast. So it's Frederick Leung, and I'm not sure about his last name or surname for some of our speakers. But anyways, we just wanted to quote him for a sec to comment on it. He said that parents may be extremely protective of only children and worry about their physical safety. That may be why only children are more likely to show interest in academic pursuits rather than physical or outdoor activities. And I can say that in my case, it wasn't really because of my parents trying to save me from the outside world. No, it wasn't the case. My mother was the opposite. Like she was asking me to go and just make friends at the playground after school. But even though I did this from time to time, I never enjoyed it. And this is very like when I read that part about academic pursuits, I can say this is very me, since I've been in this field in science in general for as long as I remember myself, because I went to college and then started getting my degree in university. And in Russia, the whole education system is very different, like it is in every part of the world. We have our own ways to build it. But anyways, it's so interesting that you sometimes choose to sit down and learn more, read more. You choose more me time, and you still can be quite sociable, and you can be an ambivert. Is it the right word? Somebody who is not an extrovert and not an introvert. Something in the middle. I think that's right, an ambivert.
Yeah, it's ambivert for like someone who's like either in the middle or like has both like extroverted and like introverted qualities.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So I guess that's not really about the relationships that the only child can build with people, but mostly about our brain development and how well we want it to, I don't know, to work. Because maybe, maybe it's again from my experience, but I think that intellectually, the only children can be like, more forward, if I can put it like this. But I have never done any scientific research here. It's just basically something that I came up with on the spot. But yeah, probably this like only child, they can have more time for these academics things. Since they don't have such responsibility as taking care of their sibling, setting an example, showing what to do, helping their parents, feeding the child, like sitting with them, babysitting. Yeah.
And I also think this theory is really accurate, because, like, literally, I said earlier I was raised as like an only child. So I guess in a way I'm kind of the first child, but like I guess also in a way like I'm also like the last child. But we're not going to talk about that. Like, yeah. So basically, because I'm an only child, I think that in a way I was like kind of the first child as well. And I found it pretty coincidental that I'm also into like intellectual stuff, like this theory was saying. Um, I'm into intellectual stuff. I'm into like philosophy and like religious stuff. And so I'm more so in my head more than like maybe like the concrete world. And I just find that like philosophical and like intellectual stuff interesting, like that theory was saying. Um, I do really wonder, like, because there were times where like I was like, oh man, I really wish like I had a brother or like another sister that like literally like I could like spend time with. But I know this is kind of going a little bit off track, but we're still on like siblings and like family. But like like growing up, I was like, man, I really wish I had like a brother, or I really wish I had like a sister. But like then as I was growing older, I was like, you know what? I actually like being an only child, because literally it's like I I would have to like share some stuff, and then like literally like either share a bedroom or like share food or something. And then it's like, like I like having like all this, like I like having all this space, and like I don't know, it's just like privacy and stuff, like I don't know, like. And then it's like I don't know, it's just, yeah, like the privacy. And then it's like if I'm playing guitar at like 3 in the morning, like it's like I'm gonna be able to play that. I wouldn't be able to do it if like I had it like a sibling. And also, um wait a minute, I had a thought and it just went away. So shoot. Okay. Yeah, I forgot my thought. But is there anything you wanted to add, Lisa?
I have the same story because back in maybe 2012 or something like that, when I was in elementary school, I brought it up. Like when I was with my parents, I said something about siblings, and I also said something about a dog, because I got my first dog when I was in secondary school, like at the end of it. And my mother heard me talking about siblings, and she was like, she gave me an example from her childhood, and she said, like, are you really willing to get to the point where you will have to share everything? Like, it's gonna be a totally new life, because even financially the family would need to divide like the money that they are ready to spend on presents, even like Christmas presents. So if a child needs something at the moment, well, maybe this child would have to wait, because there is a necessity to get both of these things for two children. So I heard her like asking me this question, was I willing to share? And my answer was like, I'm not sure, because again, I was a child and I thought, okay, I'm kind of good with my cat. And back then, yeah, I had only one pet. I think it's kind of similar to what you told us, Nick, about sharing, and that's something that actually I guess it opens your eyes, because if you are not given this choice, like if you want a brother or sister in the family, if it just happens, it's basically how it is in life. So you have to adjust to this, and there will be something good, and there will be something bad about it. Bad to a certain extent, because let's be honest, like relationships and families are very different, and in my opinion, sometimes people that you meet outside of your family circle, even like outside of your school, outside of your work, like sometimes totally different people, random people, they come into your life and they become so close to you, you build like such a bond that is stronger than any blood bond. Yeah, I guess that's why I really cherish relationships that are with me throughout my life, when I keep in touch with people. And I will be honest, like it's not that easy for me to just say that, all my relatives like want to know what's going on in my life, and it's the same when it comes to me, because it's not. And some people just don't want to. They're not interested, and I think whoever is listening to us right now, and when we like introduced our topic about parents and family relationships, I think that some listeners may find this like a touchy subject. What do you think, Nick?
I think they could, especially nowadays, because we live in a world that's very alienated. You know, like we see like this loneliness epidemic that's happening on like both sides of the aisle, and like yeah, we just live in a world where like it seems like very like fragmented. And I was thinking that when you were saying like you value people who are with you like throughout your life and stuff, who are truly like with you, like it made me like think of a quote that there was like that some ties are like deeper than blood, or like some bonds go deeper than blood or something. I think it's like a really powerful quote. Also, not to derail the topic either, but I also like remembered the other thing I was gonna say, and one I had a friend like a couple years ago, and when we were like talking and like getting to know each other, she was like saying like I can tell you're like an only child because you have like only child energy, and I was like I don't even know how like that's even possible. Like, well, like I know how it's possible, but like I don't know how someone can feel that energy, you know. Um, and like it was like wow, like you actually like knew I was like an only child. Whereas like they had siblings, and so they were like saying how like people, you know, similar to like what we were saying, like how you know, people with siblings like have like I guess kind of radiate like a different energy than like people who were like raised as like an only child. Also, I don't know if we got to that part of the theory yet, but the theory also was talking about how um shoot, I forgot. Hold on, wait, we might have to like edit this out because I was in the middle of something and then I forgot again. Oh my gosh, hold on.
Okay.
So miraculously, I have remembered what I was about to say. And for you guys, it would probably be like 1 second, but for us, it was like a bit longer than that. Um, like okay, so basically, in a part of the theory, they said that parents who are like raising their first like child would be like um I don't know like if it was, well, pretty much that they would be like kind of closed off to like if the child would be like into like more artistic endeavors like poetry or something, if I remember. And it made me remember this one Instagram video or Instagram reel that I saw, which was like granted like we should probably talk about like the cultural differences of like parents around the world, or like the cultural differences of like parenting styles. But like just to get to the video, like it was about like some Asian parents who were like super strict, and they had like one boy, like one child, and literally the guy was, it was like super funny. He was like saying like, okay, the son, like we literally we spun the wheel to see what you would be in life, and it's either lawyer or doctor, and it fell on lawyer, so you're gonna be a lawyer. And that was like literally like how that was his parenting style, like just jokingly. But I thought that was like pretty funny, especially because it was like an only child, and it kind of related to that parents for like their first kid were going to be more strict on like what the child could pursue as a vocation.
I see. I haven't seen this video, but it made me think that actually there are some parents that want to fulfill their dreams, but not themselves. They want to do this basically kind of using their children's future because they are trying to decide what careers they will have to get and to build. For example, if the parent wasn't lucky to get some medical education and become like a famous surgeon, then when the child is, especially if it's the only child, if they are growing up, while they are growing up, well, they may feel this influence. They are trying to push this child towards the science, biology, chemistry, and basically trying to make them believe that this is their path, this is the only right way. It may be like this, it can be different, it can be coming from the whole family, like the family of maybe lawyers or teachers, and you are the next generation, you need to be one of us. And I personally think that this is the wrong style, and parents, no matter how many children they have, they should see and appreciate the personality in each child, and give them space, and also give them this opportunity to make their own choices and mistakes.
Oh, that's so true that you say that. There's a couple points I wanna say, and perhaps I feel kind of bad because I feel like I'm talking like a lot longer than I ought to be, but I'm going to be trying to make it like kind of quick. So like the first point is like literally like you're right that it's like unhealthy that like some parents want to like choose, well, I don't want to say like choose their child's vocation, but like literally although like yeah, to a great extent that is bad. But kind of pressure that child in an unhealthy way to like do something the parents want instead of like allowing the child to like have more like flexibility. um but like that's I guess that's as much as I want to say regarding that topic. But I also thought about that scene from like Kung Fu Panda because I recently watched recently watched the movie where like literally there were like the father had the noodle shop, and like he wanted Poe to be like the next one in line, and he was like, I can't wait until Poe has the noodle dream, like the noodle dream, dude. And like literally that's how he knew that was like his rite of passage, that he had like the noodle dream. But also like, and I'm wondering like, because there's that real phenomenon, at least like it might be real, that like literally there's like um some people who are like, oh, like I'm a fifth generation lawyer, or like my father was like a doctor, and then like literally like my grandfather was a doctor, and blah blah blah, and like or a psychologist, or even teacher. And I wonder, maybe, I don't know, like if like this energy, or like it's passed down in genetics or DNA, or like it's kind of like a conscious thing, or like um maybe that could be interesting. Also, the last point I'll make is that like literally I remember reading a couple of years ago that maybe that DNA could like hold the memories of like people when and so like when they're born, like the child's DNA is like infused with certain like memories or something. I honestly don't know where I read that, but I thought it was like kind of interesting, and I don't know exactly if I like believe it or not. But like it could explain how like maybe like because like well, I think it had to do with like this theory about like past lives or something like that, and like people feeling like, oh, like deja vu, like I was here before. But in this context, like something in me tells me that I should be a teacher, probably because like my mom was a teacher, and my grandpa was a teacher, and my great grandfather was a teacher, and stuff like that. But I thought it was like super interesting.
That's a good one. I actually, well, you were talking about it, and as soon as you reached this point when you said like, oh, maybe it has to do something with genetics and DNA, especially in a way like how we choose what is ours, and when it comes to our vocation, it reminded me of a little fact. So basically, scientists like years ago they found a gene and they called it the language gene, and it's like I guess I can say this. So it's basically called FOXP2 gene. So this gene is something that every living creature has, like animals, but the same gene that they have, we have as humans, but our gene is a little bit different. So I'm talking about this because this gene plays a role in the history of languages and like why people started talking. Again, from the scientific point of view, because we can like look into some other theories and myths, and everybody is going to find something that suits them and their perspective. But the fact that some people like literally spent years trying to prove something and they actually succeeded in finding something in our bodies, something that every human has, and we all have this ability to speak, and no matter what language we speak, we do this in the same way. We use the same organs of speech and articulation, yada yada. So my idea is this. I think if there is such a gene that stands for like the language and the speaking ability, at least to some extent, probably it would be a good idea like to say that somewhere inside us there is like something, maybe another gene that is like more or less developed in one of us and like in the others, that actually helps us be more talented and skillful at some fields, like to be more artistic. I really believe that before gaining this knowledge and actually honing your skill and being able to call something a skill, for example, say, oh, I'm a good musician, I actually can draw something, I can play the piano fantastically. Well, some people find it easier to play the same musical instruments as some other people. They need less time, and yeah, probably that's due to like some physiological things and like biology. I don't know why it like opened this door in my head, but I just wanted to share. And like, what would you say about yourself, Nick? Like, do you think that there may be something that helps you be more open to some things than to others? Yeah.
Is there something that'll make me more open to something than to others? Um, I think maybe like I have to be inspired. And I think going way back, I think Plato was talking about this too. And I do believe it as well, that in order for someone to learn something, they have to be inspired. And in when I was like training to be a teacher, we had this phrase called "reach before you teach," and it's the same idea where you have to like reach the kids and reach the students, and like you have to be on their same wavelength, or you have to speak their metaphorical like same language. You have to like explain like why it's important to them, and they have to like really be inspired uh to learn it, because the easier yeah, like the more inspired they are to learn it, the easier it'll be for them to learn it. And like I know for me, like there's countless examples where it just felt like I don't remember what the right word is, like if it's like an epitome or something, like kind of like not necessarily serendipity, but it's one of those fun words where it's just like wow, like this is like my calling, like. And one of those things was like when I was the reason like I chose to pick up guitar was literally because I remember like being open-minded to listen to like a Metallica song, and literally like the first time I listened to like, and I mean like truly listened, because like I heard of Metallica and I was like, oh, like it's metal and I'm not really a fan of metal, and this is like back when I was like 11 or 12. um but like like I clicked on the Metallica song. It was like Enter Sandman, and then like I listened to it, and like the first riff, I was like, "Yo, like I gotta pick up guitar." It was like it's an epiphany. That was it. Yeah, it was an epiphany, and I was like, "Yo, like this is like I'm destined." Like it was like a spiritual conviction, and I was like, "Yo, like I gotta pick up the guitar right now." And now like it's been like over 10 years, and like I'm a really good guitar player, so it's been like that. But there's like other instances where like just like being inspired, um, either like in philosophy or religion, just in those intellectual or psychological pursuits. Um, do you have like any inspirations that you've also felt that you've like that carried you through like any your education right now?
Mm, I I think that, like, before I answer your question, just a little comment. I want to say that when you mentioned inspiration, it's also kind of like it correlates with curiosity. So open-mindedness and just this willingness to try something new and see if that's something that you can try your hand at and achieve great results. So this is great, especially when you can do this, solo, when you don't need to try and do this like as a part of a duo or group, because for some people it's difficult to go out of their comfort zone and try something new, be it a hobby, even like pottery, comedy, like stand up, uh, things like that. But coming back to what you asked me, well, I think I have some fields that I was surprised that I am good at and like I am quite into. So obviously it's languages. It hasn't been a secret, but I also like law, and even though it's been a while since I revised anything, but I really liked the structure, and I really liked, some puzzles, answering questions. Like even after lectures, it felt like some sort of mystery. So yeah, and in general, like maybe some parts of psychology, because it's kind of helpful and something that I can use like implement in my own life, some knowledge. But also, as for something artistic, I'm not that sure. Sometimes I like dancing, uh, specifically like Latino style dancing. But yeah, that's it. It's mostly like for myself. I'm not striving to get some amazing results, or I'm not following this. I don't have this sort of routine when I would do this every day. So I don't have a musical instrument that I play. Like I can't say that, oh, actually, this is a good thing. So you just mentioned something that you do. And my speech brought me to this point. So I remember my friend and we were having like a conversation as usual. And I told her like, hey, don't you find it kind of frustrating when people that you only like start getting to know, when people, like the first thing that they ask you is, what are your hobbies? Actually, it's kind of controversial, but whenever somebody asks me, like straight away, what are your hobbies? I sometimes feel lost because my main answer is English and languages. But the thing is that it's not really a hobby because it's my profession, and I feel weird as if like I'm so dedicated and devoted to my job that I don't think about anything else but languages, and like the only answer is languages, even though it takes a lot of your time. But yeah, I have already said like I have already mentioned a few other things that I do and I'm interested in, but still, coming back to this, what are your hobbies? I think this sentence, it's like a little bit a weird one. Yeah, do you feel comfortable answering this question?
Well, there's a couple things I want to kind of respond to your kind of your commentary. The first thing is it actually is so weird that you said um that you were interested in law, because I feel like, or like I felt at times you kind of had that lawyer energy, and I feel like it's because you were like kind of you were you're very precise with your language and the words that you speak. And I was like, sometimes it does give off lawyer energy, and I was like, whoa, like okay, that was kind of freaky. I was like, whoa, lawyer energy. Um, also, I also felt I kind of relate to you in the sense that like, when someone asks me like, not necessarily what are your hobbies, but like, do you like teaching or like, because like, I was a teacher, and so, um, when someone says that, I like part of me, like a lot of part of me wants to say that like, I've always been a teacher because I feel like, it's in your nature. It's in my nature to like to do this, like not necessarily like have a job as a teacher, where I get like paid and stuff. But literally like it's in my nature to be curious and to want to know the world and to want to know the truth and have this inquisitive mind. And not only that, but actually like teach other people and share knowledge with people, and really like, share my knowledge with people. And literally school is the perfect example of that. It's the like outer manifestation of that. So like when someone says like, um ask me about like my profession and like, how long have you been teaching, like that's kind of like the precise question. I'm like, I want to answer like, oh, like my whole life. But if we're talking just a job, then like, just not as long though. And as for like answering like what are my hobbies, like, to for like for me, I think the thing is I have like a lot of hobbies, like I feel like, um well, there's two things I want to say, and I guess I'll say this first. I think, to me, like what's more important than someone's hobbies or interests is like their values, and I think that, people are happiest when they're surrounded by people who share their same values. And so like to me, what's more important than like knowing someone's like hobbies or like interests, not that that's not important, but like knowing their values. But to directly like answer your question, um like I have a lot of hobbies. So it's like literally I was asked this like today because like literally, we were doing some icebreakers when I was meeting a group of people. And like, yeah, I just I'm like, oh well, I like religion and psychology and philosophy and phenomenology and culture and language. And so I'm like, I have a lot of hobbies. I'm just gonna list like a couple, and then, if anyone like wants to talk to me about it, then like they're more than welcome to do so. um but yeah, like I don't know if that answers your question, but like I mean that's how I feel about the subject.
Yes, it gave me the image, and I liked the last example when you mentioned like ice-breaking activities. I don't know, like in my head it was you sitting somewhere around the campfire, maybe with marshmallow. But I think learning about each other's hobbies is kind of a natural thing. And if you want to, what's the verb? Like, accelerate the process, then you can make it in a way that it's like a game. This is how icebreakers work, and they are very common, like when you get to learn new people, students. And as for what you said earlier, I just wanted to add that like this lawyer energy, that was how you called it, what you called it. Actually, this reminded me of what you said earlier in the episode about this person who said that you probably are the only child, and you were surprised that she kind of read the room, and she read you like maybe not an open book, although it's a sad phrase, but she saw some signs, and you felt it too, even though like our interactions are kind of limited. Even like just when you think about it, yeah, usually it's for us it's text, right, or audio messages. So yeah, thank you for your answers and for this very nice comment. And if you like, do you want to say something on the same while we are still here? Because I have an idea to bring us back to cultures. So yeah, if you have anything to say, I would like to hear.
I have one last thing I would like to add. And this, so I was talking to my friend. I caught up with my friend the other day, and he went to Chicago for a conference, and he had a really interesting icebreaker. So he said that like when they did like breakout rooms to discuss like some of the topics, people would like introduce themselves like normal, and then they would share at the end like what topic would you like to like discuss, and then they would have a vote. But the thing is, they had to vote on the topic they would want to discuss that's like not their own topic. So they had to vote for someone else's topic, which I thought was like a pretty interesting spin or twist on an icebreaker, which I thought was pretty interesting, and I wanted to share just in case anyone else like wanted to use that or found it interesting too.
Yes, it's always something that we can add into like our chest of activities, and yeah, never run out of them. Even though you need to find yourself in a situation when you are actually in a group of people where you can try this out. What I wanted us to do, okay, so I think we can give our perspectives on how parents or maybe just relatives, family members from our cultures, like American and Russian, how they would react to a few situations. You know, like solving some case scenarios. And I thought of three of such scenarios. Yeah, we can just, I can read the statement and we both say something and how we imagine it happening in our countries. What do you think?
This sounds fun. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so if you would like to add any statement afterwards, because like I just have only three, so if you want to do this, you can do this later. So the first one, grandchildren are running around the beach when it's a very sunny day. So how would American parents and grandparents, because I stated in this sentence that we are talking about like this relationship. So basically, what would be the reaction of an American grandmother?
You mean like playing on the beach? And the first question I have is like, okay, so because I'm also Hispanic, should I do the American perspective, or should I do like my actual like family that's like Hispanic? Because
Probably it's
this
good if it's your family because it's coming, just from your personal experience and from your childhood, maybe. But I guess I can add a few details to the situation. They are running around the beach and they are maybe playing with like some water guns. Maybe they are screaming and they don't want to put any sunscreen on. They are not wearing anything like on their head. So basically, they're just enjoying this sunny day. It sounds like a fun stuff to do, but yeah, some relatives can find it, well, concerning.
I think in terms of what my grandparents would do from the Hispanic like perspective, they would probably ask us to put on sunscreen. But I don't think that they would have an issue with us like running around and like having fun with stuff. Like I think the main concern was like, okay, like as long as you're okay, then and we can see you like in our line of sight and stuff. Like just don't go too far. I think that'll be fine. Um, yeah, I mean, and literally the reason like, and when it comes to like other people, like, um, I think that they would be fine even if we're loud because, and I'm just saying this like as a Hispanic, like we're used to like super loud parties and stuff. Like literally, like we turn up the music so much, like literally, like even for me, it's like kind of loud. Like literally either like on the TV or we literally had like a mariachi band come to our house a couple times. So literally like so we're like normally loud and like probably too much into other people's business or to other into people's like personal space. So as long as I think from their perspective, just like as long as we're taking care of ourselves, then like that's the main concern that they would have.
I like this answer, especially since you mentioned like basically the noise. It comes from any child or a group of children, but I think maybe for some cultures it's more common. When I traveled to such countries as like Egypt or Tunisia, I should say that children there, they are a bit louder than what I'm used to. But like I understand this, and again, it's like something that is normal for them and like for parents. For example, whenever I stayed at a hotel, I was staying there with like they were foreigners, they were French people, sometimes like German, Russians. Obviously like Ukrainians and also locals. So it could be Tunisians, it could be like Turkish people. So whenever we shared a big like room where it was like a dining room, whenever we shared it, there were a lot of people, a lot of tables, everybody sat with their family. But I noticed that those like Tunisian families, they're usually big, of course, but when like the father and the mother, they are eating, three of their children are eating, having their dinner. Two of other children from this very family, they finish their food and they start running around the table of the family, and then they may start running towards like other guests. And it wasn't just like one case scenario. It happened many times, and they're talking quite loudly, and that's something that can be surprising, shocking to other cultures. And there are like some peculiarities, for example, when you travel to China and like the way people are used to, I don't know, treating like the meals and the whole process, of having a meal there. So I just wanted to say this because it's different. Again, speaking about the noise. And as for what it would be in Russia, I should say that it's quite important for Russian grandparents and parents for their child, especially a kid, like when they're small, to wear something over their head. It should be either like a bandana, it should be a Panama hat, it should be a cap, a baseball cap, so something to cover their head. Of course, sunscreen. And I think I saw videos of a Russian grandmother running after her 4-year-old grandson and trying like to stop him and just put this Panama hat on his head. And another thing, while we're still on the beach topic, so you know how at beaches, they have changing rooms like cubicles.
Yeah.
Like I saw an Instagram video where they showed like the difference between how it would be like in maybe like in America and the Balkans and somewhere in Russia. So they showed it like that. So if it's some Slavic parent, they tell their child, oh, come on, you can change into your swimsuit like right here. Don't go to this changing room, because they simply pretend that they don't notice the changing room, or they think that the changing room is not working. And what they do, they take out a towel and they put it like in a horizontal position. They unroll the towel and they are asking the child to hide behind this towel and to quickly like change the clothes. So it's quite funny because it's actually the case. It's quite often seen, even if you are somewhere abroad, but you can see who is like, I would assume they are Russians because it's something that you can see at our beaches. I'm not talking about adults. Of course, it's about children, right? Because like, it kind of sounds like they don't give them enough privacy, but it depends on the family. Like in my case, oh my gosh, I'm very sorry for this sound. I mean, from my end, I think we will have to cut it out too because I'm running low on my battery. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm here, but I need to charge it. I hope my laptop doesn't die. Okay. So we'll just put it here. All right. Okay, I'm good. What should I come back to? I think I will cut it out and speak about. Yeah, so it's quite common, and you can see it at some Russian beaches, even though it depends on the age of the child. Of course, if they're teenagers, nobody would do this, but yeah, maybe it's again about giving some privacy. Very individual, depends on the family, but I guess it somewhat describes the nationality, or maybe a few nationalities at once. Yeah, so would you like to move on to the next situation?
One thing I want to add too is that wait, like we're Hispanic, but we also did that. We're like when I was a kid, like but granted the beach didn't have changing rooms that we like went to. Well, like it didn't have changing rooms. And so literally like my parents would do the same thing where like, oh, like just do the like the horizontal towel thing and then just like change behind. And like I think that works. But I think that's like just logical. Like if you need to change, then like um just like do it like and you don't have a changing room, then like I think the towel is like the next best thing. But just something to add.
Yeah, but I'm surprised to hear that it's like you can see it somewhere else in the world. Wow. Okay, so the next scenario, a teenager or young adult wants to spend a year abroad after school, so basically they're taking a gap year. What would be the reaction of the parents from your side of the world?
I find this absolutely hilarious because this is the same situation. Oh my gosh, because literally like but well, I mean I want to travel abroad. I got global fever. I got international fever. So or I guess travel fever. Shoot. Okay. So I mean, like, my parents were like kind of nervous at first, but like, they couldn't stop me. Like, they can't stop me. So, like, I guess theoretically they can, but like, literally, like, it's like my life, and like, literally, like, I'm gonna do what's in like my best interest. How would my parents react? Yeah, probably like they're gonna be like nervous about it, concerned. Um, let's see what else. And the interesting spin on the question though, is that like literally I feel like I was putting myself in like their shoes, and I'm like, okay, like what if my child like wanted to like leave? I'd probably do the same thing, where I'd be like nervous, but I think like um you know it's kind of crazy because like literally I was like, okay, like I wouldn't want my child to like go halfway across the world either. um so I'd be kind of a bit more like, unfortunately I feel like I would be a bit more like, oh no, you can't do that, but like not to that extent, but like kind of, I don't know, like because obviously like I don't want my child to go to like the other side of the world and me never to see them again. Like that is painful for anyone. um but yeah, like just to directly answer your question, yeah, like they would be concerned, and they would like obviously, yeah, be concerned and worried, and yeah, but hopefully like they would support like my decision, which I think they do. So yeah.
So my idea was that it's it's always very challenging, especially when you don't know when you're coming back to your home country, and when the political situation, just the world in general, will allow you to go back. I understand that it's different for everybody, and some people don't find it that stressful. But still, like in this situation that I described, I think I said like 1 year for a year, so it didn't it didn't imply that you are going for as long as you want, because yes, a gap year meaning that you come back home and you continue studying somewhere there. And I think like my opinion on this, as a parent, I myself would, of course, I would be worried, but I would like to help this during this time. I would like to help my child and like see what has brought them there, like what choices that they are making, why they want to go to this country, like how safe the country they are visiting is. And as for the Russian perspective, I should say that gap years are not common. They are something that some people like take, and after that, it's just something that you don't mention to many other people anymore. So it's not a common practice. I took a gap year myself, and when I mentioned it to a group of other students, which were obviously younger than I am, so they were like, oh, just they were kind of giving me those glances, so they couldn't understand. They start judging you. They start thinking that you are not smart. And that's something that I don't like about this system that we have, that it's not viewed as something normal. Just to take this time for yourself to travel and to learn more about yourself, to actually come to this career-making decision, to make this choice, come to this point with with something in your head, with something in your heart, with some memories. Like, unfortunately, children here are made to make this choice when they are 16 years old, like straight after high school. And I think it's wrong, because it just makes the chances that they are going to make the wrong choice much higher. And it means that after studying somewhere in the field that they hate, they will still take this break. Not a gap year, but they will just choose to change the profession, So to choose something else to major in. And that's because they made this choice too quickly, and the system, the society didn't really let them do much. So it's about each person and the people, if they choose to follow. There is this phrase, I think you have it, it's this word, it's called the sheeple, to be the sheeple, right? So if somebody is like this, they just have this structure. Okay, so first it's kindergarten. If they don't have kindergarten, they go to elementary school. And then after high school, of course, where do you go? Before job, you need some education. You go there, and then you get a job, and then you build a family. So this is the puzzle that many people try to build in their head, and they stick to this. But it's not perfect, and it's not for everyone. So that's probably all I wanted to say.
Just to add on to what you were saying, jokingly, I thought that you were going to say the phrase was, if you love something, you got to set it free. And if they come back, it's meant to be. But the other two things I was going to mention too was, I was going to half joke and say that literally, I didn't, I just didn't realize that it was you mentioned it was a 1 year gap year, but I was thinking well, it always starts off as, I'm going to travel to this place and I'm only going to stay here for 1 year, but then it becomes 2 years, and then 3 years, and then 6 years, and then literally it becomes your whole life. Sometimes. So, they always say oh, I'm only going to do this for 1 to 2 years, and then they find out they like it better. At least some of them do. Or I guess plenty, some of them. And the other thing too is, I do think gap years, I do think gap years are more popular in the younger generation, our age and I guess younger. As opposed to the older generation. So I guess it's a newer trend. But that's all I wanted to add.
Okay, I actually agree with you about this thing with 1 year, that it lasts longer, especially whenever you choose to maybe try yourself at a new job, and you tell yourself, oh, maybe it's not for me, but I will try it. And then this job, even if it's not ideal, you still stay because you build connections, and you don't want to just go somewhere again and feel lost, and again be left on your own and make those choices. I think that's practically it. But as for like one more situation, so we actually have three of them. Nothing nothing crazy, just about showing your individuality. As an example, if a teen wants to dye their hair, to have their hair dyed bright blue or any color, like what would be your reaction as a parent, like coming from your background, the mix of cultures, what would be the reaction of your family? So yeah, maybe not the hair thing, but anything about somebody's style, the style of the child.
So you mean like my parents, or like if I were the parents?
I think when we answered the question about, like, both questions that we already covered, you spoke about your own future, like, parenting style. You said that, oh, I would be worried. And then you briefly mentioned how your parents reacted or how they would react. So I thought that you can give the same two points here.
Okay. So basically, I I will say this in terms of, and I think they're kind of both the same, or at least they ought to be the same. I think for issues of individual expression, I think that these are healthy if they're within the confines of the authority. That sounds like I'll unpack that. Okay, so basically, it's like I think that people like children under the authority of parents should have the freedom to express themselves like on an individual basis, but like in a healthy way, right? And like I mean, at the end of the day, like, before you reach the age of majority, you have to like honor your parents. Um, and like, especially if you're living in like their home, then like literally, like you should like you're answering to them. But yeah, I mean, something like an individual like expressing something like that, I think like it depends what it is, because like I know some people, it could be like a touchy subject sometimes. But like I think overall, like if an individual wants to express themselves, then they should be able to do so.
I think that's fair enough. Like I should add that probably there should be some limitations, because it's not only about self-expression and expressing yourself in your family or around your friends. No, it's also about what effect it's gonna have on your well, on how you present yourself when you go to school. Since you're a teenager, you go to school, right? Or like what your potential employers will think about you. So as a parent, I think it's important to just give maybe a few points, like, especially if you know what career your teenager child wants to pursue. If you know this, it's good to tell them about some things that they might face if they had like a tattoo somewhere on their cheek, for example, or maybe in front of, like, I don't know, in the front part of their neck. So there are some careers that are not welcoming such things. So, for example, if you are working in the hospitality sphere or tourism, like at a hotel, you would find it difficult to actually find a place, maybe like a luxury hotel, that would choose you as their employee because of your style and like your looks. The same goes for teachers, maybe for some doctors. So some professions, they limit you, and I think this like future result, outcome that you may get, like as a parent, no matter from what culture you come from, right? What culture you come from, you should actually try to give your child this overall view, just what may be there. So yeah, I think that this situation is like kind of hard to comment on when it comes to some peculiarities and like reactions. If we try to basically base it only on nationalities, but overall, it's about like the relationship you have and like what you want to do with it and with your life in the future. Yeah.
Just to like kind of elaborate a little bit, like just to add like some comments on my answer though. When I was talking about like individual self-expression, like not only like if a child like dyes his hair, like not just that example, but like, like whether like what food he wants to eat, or let's say like if he wants to pursue drawing or poetry or music, or to pursue like the vocation that he finds interesting. Like I also like deem that as like, like individual self-expression, kind of like giving him the freedom to like express himself, in a healthy way. Because obviously like if you're less than 18, then like you're still like answering to your parents. But like also like I'm also kind of making the assumption that like the parents are already like teaching their kids like from a young age, and so I'm assuming that the kid wants to also, like, since he was formed well, he also has the wisdom to like make good healthy decisions. But I mean, there's some cases that like, yeah, on a case by case basis, some of them like, it depends on the parent, and it is an overall issue, and yeah, like it is a touchy subject to talk about, so at least sometimes. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to add.
So I hope that our discussion has brought some insights, has helped some of you gain insights, and maybe you felt like agreeing with us, or maybe just there was a point where like some of our listeners could have like a completely different opinion. But we would love to hear your thoughts and yeah, just get some feedback, maybe some stories, maybe more examples of how parents from your culture react to certain situations.
So there you guys have it. Go out there, get married, have babies, and you are ready to conquer the world and the world of parenting. Woo-hoo!
It's very motivational. And always remember that the truth is out there.
Oh my gosh, I think that was the longest episode yet.